So Sophia and I were just watching The Sims 4 Businesses with No Hobbies live stream, and there is some interesting stuff in there. I do have a cold, that's why I sound a bit weird and I'm breathing out of my mouth. Funnily enough, they didn't actually go over like that much gameplay in the live stream, which I just thought was a little bit weird, to be honest. They did mention near the start that there will be apparently 76 activities in Businesses and Hobbies for the like new business activities, but there are also more depending on which packs you own. So it's like minimum 76 new business activities. Obviously you can only do a maximum of 5 at a time in a business, but there are more than 76 if you own other packs, which is interesting. They showed off some of the brand new gameplay in the home business, but not really that much. They were talking about tattooing and like they were making out it's like this big humongous feature, and honestly it made me feel a bit sad because it just shows how much gameplay standards have dropped since The Sims 3, because then we had the Ambitions expansion pack which came with tattooing, but it also came with sculpting, which I guess is like pottery, but it also came with other things, like it came with hairstyling and it came with fashion design. It also came with interior decorating and architectural design as a career, in addition to coming with live careers like being a ghost hunter, a firefighter, detective, etc. Oh my god, tattoos is a big new feature. Like in The Sims 3 it wasn't that deep, it was just a minor feature. It just shows that standards are a bit of a low right now with The Sims 4. So if you clicked on this video just to prove that you think I'm a horrible person and I'm the most hateful Sims YouTuber, you can click me and leave now. I also want to talk about the hobby classes, and I genuinely think they look fun. In the video they showed it from the perspective of the customer, and it's got like an event panel you can see at the top left where you've got to do certain things, and this event panel does look basically the same as an employee or the home business owner. So you also have a similar kind of event system, which I actually think is quite fun as an idea for a hobby class. Will it be buggy or not? I'm sure hoping it won't be. It did actually bug out in the live stream, which I thought was quite funny. Actually, in addition to that bug, some other things did go wrong in the live stream. Trashly, the new shady sim, disappeared mid-conversation, so they gave up showing off what he does as a character. And then shortly after, their business was closed, but customers were like walking in, like Mortimer Goff was trying to come into the business despite the lot being closed. So they awkwardly tried to conceal it by quickly like changing the view to upper floor. It was really funny. Not gonna lie, it did make me nervous. Like, I'm really hoping this pack is going to work on release. We're just gonna have to have our fingers crossed, because if it does, it could genuinely be like one of the most clever Sims packs ever. From that, I can't express enough, do not pre-order this pack because it could be a pile of wank when it comes out. Wait for my review, because I always review it not early access, but afterwards, when we've got this pack with all of the other packs in the main game experience. So what you see is what you get when you're seeing, you know, how it interacts with all the other packs, because usually packs can be fine on their own, but when you put it in your game and you have multiple packs, that's when the issues occur. They did also talk about, by the way, 2 new traits coming with this, being the idealist trait. In other words, a base game good trait, but repackaged slightly differently. There's also the new shady trait, which is like the base game evil trait but packaged slightly differently. But it does seem that you can actually go on heists, although these are a rabbit hole experience, so you don't really. Also, I believe you can pickpocket other Sims if you have the shady trait, which is interesting. They also looked in the world, and I'm not gonna lie, I noticed 3 empty lots, which is actually quite a lot considering this is a smaller world. Although I don't know if this will change on release. I don't know if when the pack is released they're going to actually include more pre-made lots, so I'm not going to complain about this yet because it could change in the full release. And unfortunately, they did threaten to release brand new world events with this pack. The City Living Festival events were a fun gimmick, but then they started putting them in every single pack, and they seem to be happening every single day of the week. With this one, you get hobby events where, like, I believe it'll be like a music hobby event where there'll just be like a random keyboard pop up in the middle of the town square and random Sims will use it. Although luckily this time round, it seems like they've made it so the event notifications are all off by default and you have to manually turn them on. So they are improving in that respect. They honestly spent most of the live stream just being very kind of like corporate cringe. Genuinely, like, what's her name? Mercia. I forgot her name. She could make a funeral sound like a kid's birthday party. She honestly needs a raise because like her jaw must be aching so much from all the smiling and like happy upbeatness. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it to save my life. They did end up discussing some features that I actually didn't know were coming, by the way. Like they were talking about a family recipe system where you're going to be able to cook a recipe, okay, but you add like secret ingredients in order to make it have a special effect, but you can't just do any special effect. You first have to unlock the special effect by doing certain things. So it's like a genuinely unique family recipe. I think it's interesting, bit random, but I think it's interesting. Funnily enough though, they didn't really go into the gameplay in that much detail, and I don't know if they ran out of time or were just scared of accidentally showing off bugs and glitches. Maybe they should go back to doing pre-recorded live streams so there are less awkward moments and they could just show off the gameplay more naturally. They did show off some of the build stuff looking away from the gameplay now, and honestly, I think it seems to be one of the nicer packs for build assets. It gives off similar vibes to Dream Home Decorator, although most of the build stuff does look solely functional or just like usable for a home business lot rather than a house, as in like the shop bit, which is fine. It's just an observation I'm making. I did also notice there weren't that many objects this time round too. Like technically on paper, there's probably a lot of objects, but then like if you've got 10 different variations of the same string light object, that's only really one new object, not 10. So in that sense, I think it's going to be a smaller pack for build mode. They also showed off some of the cast, and honestly, I actually think most of it looks quite nice this time round. There were a lot of feminine hairs, and okay, I just want to say a lot of the men's hairs doesn't actually look like masculine hair options. It just looks like butch lesbian hair. My theory is they designed all of the hair meshes around female Sims, and then they just like put the shorter ones on male Sims and like one or two of the longer ones, but they literally just look like butch lesbian cuts on men as a result. And like I think butch lesbians are wonderful, sexy, great. I would just rather they did masculine style hairs for men instead of just putting the butch lesbian styles on for men, if that makes any sense. Copying, pasting stuff clearly designed for female Sims is not inclusive, it's just lazy. Although when it comes to clothes, being positive, I actually like the look of all the men's stuff this time round. They really shocked me with the Love Struck pack, and I actually thought a lot of the men's stuff was really good in that pack and they were actually improving. Life and Death, when that pack came out, that's not really my vibe, so I wasn't into the cast, but this one looks like it's actually going to be good for masculine cast options. It actually looks like they put loads and loads of effort into it, and it doesn't just look like feminine cast remeshed. So I'm excited to actually see it when the pack comes out. From the offset, I think the cast does actually look really nice. I think it looks interchangeable with a lot of other stuff too. They were also talking about tattoo layering at this stage, and people online actually were talking about how to create custom makeup and body scarring and using the tattoo feature almost to create like skin overlays, like, you know, those custom content skin overlays. But people were talking about maybe you'll be able to use tattoos for that, and because you can now share tattoos on the gallery, I think it's going to be a really great resource honestly for custom makeup and custom skin overlays and stuff like that. And honestly, at this stage though, it's really hard to tell how well this pack's going to go. Many members of the EA Creator Network have had beta early access release to The Sims for businesses and no hobbies. So you may have noticed some Sims YouTubers have uploaded gameplay videos, and I have actually had a look at these myself, and I am a little bit worried because most of them are not actually looking into the gameplay. The same thing happened when For Rent came out. When the For Rent expansion pack came out, all of the early access videos were people just building residential rentals, but barely anybody was actually playing it. And then when I got to play it myself, I realized just how bloody wank it was. Like, it was absolutely terrible for gameplay. And we're seeing the same thing with like businesses and hobbies. There are loads of videos out right now of people building home businesses, but there's not much of people playing, and a lot of kind of like gameplay feature skimming, briefly skimming over something. And if you're making a sponsored video, you can't really focus too much on negative stuff. This isn't me throwing shade, because I know you're going to take it out of context. Like, I do sponsor videos sometimes, like you talk mostly about positive things. That's the whole point, because you're sponsored. Even if you're not being paid real money, you're still receiving something of monetary value. You're also being a part of an exclusive club with benefits and perks, so it is a sponsored ad. So obviously we can't be like to 100% certain is it going to be like fully functional, because all I'm seeing is just build videos right now. And I honestly have a feeling that I'm may look at The Sims 4 home business in a similar way that I do with For Rent, because I think For Rent is a trash pack. It's one of the buggiest and glitchiest Sims 4 packs. It fucking doesn't work at all, basically, and it's beyond saving because they've tried and they still haven't fixed it. But solely just being able to like build 2 lots on one is actually quite like functional, and I have a feeling it's maybe a similar thing this time round. Like being able to build a home and a community lot on the same lot is going to be something that's quite functional, but maybe the gameplay is going to be arse. I mean, we already know it's not really coming with any new hobbies. Tattooing, I'm sorry, is not really a hobby. Technically anything is a hobby. Technically literally anything is a hobby. But in terms of traditional mainstream hobbies, tattooing is more of just like a creative businessy thing that creative people do. It's not like The Sims 2 Free Time, which came with a whole like hobbyist system. It doesn't come with like hobbyist subscription magazines. Like nothing about this pack has got anything to do with hobbies. The Sims 4 Horse Ranch came with nectar making, wine pressing. Would you say that Horse Ranch is a hobbies pack because it came with a hobby activity? No. Just as Horse Ranch isn't a hobbies pack because it came with 1 or 2 hobby activities, we can also say the same thing, you know, about home business. Just because it comes with 1 or 2 hobbies, that doesn't make it a hobby pack. So it is definitely lacking in terms of gameplay from what I've seen. It seems like one of those packs which is more like, instead of adding new features, it adds new mechanics that interact with base game features. Despite all this though, it genuinely seems like it could be one of my favorite ever packs for The Sims 4 because I think it just looks very genius. Like the way they've gone about you being able to make your own kind of community lot in any way that you like. I think it's a really interesting concept and we've never really seen it before in The Sims in its entirety, being able to make a custom lot. And I think I'm more interested to see how these custom lots are going to work from your perspective as a person visiting the lot, because potentially you'll be able to make a custom lot that's not really a business but more so just holds other kinds of functionalities. Like you can make your own custom bar with, I don't know, a kids play area, because we have those in the UK where parents will drink in the pub bit but then the kids will go off in the like playroom bit with the child minding staff. I don't know if you have those in other countries. So this is the kind of thing I'm thinking in terms of like brand new gameplay aspects. So I definitely think it opens everything up, which is really exciting. And I have a long list of things that I want to do for this for my review. The pack is coming out in 3 days, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my review, which will be coming out this week. Thank you very much for watching. You guys let me know what you think of the live stream. I will see you in the next one.